Trump plans to announce Gaza funding plan. Troops at first Board of Peace meeting, U.S. officials say. Trump signs order preparing for tariffs on Iran's trade partners. Trump threatens Iran with something very tough. Pakistan's jailed Imran Khan loses 85% vision in right eye, lawyer says. President Donald Trump is set to unveil a multi-billion-dollar reconstruction plan for Gaza at the first formal meeting of his newly created Board of Peace next week, according to senior U.S. officials. The meeting, scheduled for February 19th in Washington, D.C., is expected to bring together delegations from at least 20 countries, including several heads of state. The board, established in January and backed by a UN Security Council resolution, will focus exclusively on Gaza, despite concerns it could expand to other global conflicts. A key announcement will be the creation of a major reconstruction fund, supported by voluntary contributions from participating nations. Officials described the offers as, quote, generous, noting that the United States did not directly request donations. Another central element is the planned deployment of an international stabilization force. Several countries are expected to contribute thousands of troops to help secure Gaza in the coming months. The initiative follows a fragile ceasefire that began in October, during which Hamas released hostages and Israel freed detained Palestinians. Disarming Hamas fighters remains a top priority. Under the proposal, members who renounce violence and surrender their weapons could receive amnesty, while those choosing to leave Gaza would be granted safe passage. The Board of Peace will also review progress by the newly formed National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, which is preparing to take over civilian governance from Hamas, along with updates on humanitarian aid and policing efforts in the enclave. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order threatening tariffs on countries that continue to trade with Iran, escalating economic pressure even as Washington prepares for another round of talks with Tehran. The order, effective Saturday, sets up a process to impose tariffs on goods entering the United States from nations that directly or indirectly purchase Iranian products or services. The tariff rate will be determined by Secretary of State Marco Rubio but could reach about 25%, the level Trump previously warned about. The move comes amid heightened tensions, with a U.S. aircraft carrier group deployed in Middle Eastern waters and indirect nuclear talks held in Oman, the first since U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites during last year's conflict. Countries that could be affected include Russia, Germany, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates. China remains Iran's largest trading partner, accounting for more than a quarter of its trade. Despite the tougher stance, Trump described the recent negotiations as very good and said another meeting is expected soon. Diplomatic ties between the U.S. and Iran have been strained since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, and direct engagement has been rare. Meanwhile, Iran continues to face domestic unrest, with rights monitors reporting thousands killed during a crackdown on economic protests. U.S. President Donald Trump has escalated his rhetoric toward Iran, warning of potential military action if Tehran does not meet U.S. demands concerning its nuclear and ballistic missile programs. In an interview with Israel's Channel 12, Trump stated, "Either we reach a deal, or we'll have to do something very tough," signaling a readiness to use force should negotiations fail. This warning follows recent indirect talks between U.S. and Iranian officials in Oman, mediated by Omani authorities. Despite these discussions, Trump has emphasized that the U.S. military is prepared to act, having deployed a significant naval presence, including the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, to the region. Iran has responded firmly to these threats. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi declared that Iran's armed forces are prepared, with their fingers on the trigger, to immediately and powerfully respond to any aggression against our beloved land, air, and sea. He also emphasized that while Iran is open to fair and equitable negotiations, it will not engage in talks under the pressure of threats. The U.S. has outlined specific demands for Iran: complete cessation of uranium enrichment, limitations on ballistic missile capabilities, and the severing of ties with regional proxy groups. Iran, however, maintains that its nuclear program is solely for civilian purposes and insists that its missile program is non-negotiable. The situation remains tense, with both nations standing firm on their positions. While diplomatic channels remain open, The potential for escalation persists, underscoring the fragility of the current state of affairs. Pakistan's jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan has reportedly lost most of the vision in his right eye, according to a report presented to the Supreme Court by his lawyer. The 73-year-old leader, who has been imprisoned since August 2023 on corruption charges, now has only about 15% sight in that eye after months of blurred and hazy vision. His lawyer said Khan appeared distressed and had watery eyes during a recent meeting. A medical report diagnosed him with a central retinal vein occlusion, a blockage that affects blood flow in the eye. Khan was taken to a hospital, where doctors performed a brief procedure. The Supreme Court has ordered authorities to allow him access to his personal physician and provide a medical update by February 16. Government officials insist the matter is purely medical and say Khan will receive necessary care. But his party is demanding unrestricted access to specialists, warning that his health could be at risk in custody. Khan maintains the cases against him were politically motivated, an allegation denied by Pakistan's military and government as the former cricket star continues to face mounting legal and political pressure.